Oh. Hi, welcome to Conscious Awareness TV. Oh, shoot.
That's right.
Darn
Reel it
it.
back. Reel it back.
Reel it
Okay.
back. Okay, so hi, I'm Linda Summers.
And I'm Jeanie Lemaire.
And welcome to Conscious Awareness TV, the emerging self bringing heaven to earth. And if you have noticed, we talk about habits. And that will be part of our segment, part of our show, because you get into this habit, and I've been in this habit of just going into Conscious Awareness TV. Well, everything is different. If you've noticed, we're in different chairs, we have a different background, and Jeanie and I are now hosting the show together.
Yes.
So, thank you. Yes. And I just want to say, you can't do life alone. You really do need somebody in life. And so through the show, we're going to be talking about really behind the scenes of Conscious Awareness TV and how that really emerged. But also I want to let you know that Jeanie is the cosmic wizard on the show and I am the earth angel.
Yes.
Yes, and we'll tell you a little bit, but we're going to go more into the meat of next week of the show. But it really is, the cosmic wizard is really about our cosmic self, and the earth angel is really about the earth. So anyway, and we do have this thing about this means I need to talk or it's my turn.
Yeah.
So,
Or let me just insert here.
Yes.
I'm thinking, as she's saying, what we're wanting to do today is let you know we have a new format. And we're going to go through each of the segments, and she's kind of down the road. So my thought is let's go back to the first segment, which is gratitude.
Oh yes, we're going to just start every show with gratitude. Well, I wasn't going to go into it. I was just kind of,
Okay, well there you have it.
Yes.
What one doesn't know?
So we are going to start every show with gratitude.
Yes.
And I just want to say, first of all, I am grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be here at this time on Earth. I am grateful for this show. I am grateful that I have met Jeanie to be able to waited all this time for someone to be able to do this show together who really has the consciousness really of raising the consciousness. My kids, for you viewers and listeners out there that are watching our show and will continue to watch. So I'm grateful for all my friends, family, for life.
Yes. And what I want to point out about that, because we're talking about what's behind each segment. So sure, it's great. You can hear that she's grateful. You can hear it in her voice. You can see it in her face. And it's about expanding on that, because our mental system will produce more of anything we do a lot of. So when we do a lot of gratitude, like in a day when you're having a bad day, those are like the hardest days, but there's always something to be grateful for. So our segment is always to remind you we're starting with the most important news to help boost us into a positive mood, into a happier day, into things working better. The gratitude, it's verbal, it's gifts, it's hugs, it's looks. There's so many sides to gratitude, and that's why we want to start with it and have you know that we're about expanding and reminding you there's so many ways we can be grateful in ourselves. We can tell somebody else we're grateful something they did for us. We can be grateful that something didn't happen. You know, there's so many sides. So that's what we're using today to get you behind, to know that there's a reason on each of our segments to expand for all of us. You know, we're not a show about, oh, it's all pretty and we're happy and thank you so much. We want to be with you and say these are the things that happen, or like if she gets chatting and I want to say something. So you know, you're going to get us interacting and at times talking over, and that's the fun part. You're going to see us loosen up. You know, I mean, you know, it's wonderful hosting guests, and there's great people, and you've hosted great people.
Yes.
You know, so, but we're going to want to loosen up and really interact, and that's why I know you keep repeating, but you know, sending us questions, life questions, specific questions, you know, about what happened, and you know, so when we come into our segments, or not even segments, but just these different parts of the show will always be there. The gratitude, the cosmic weather report, because I sniff the air and I can tell you what's going on in the invisible world. So, and she's going to be more oriented towards relationship, which is all we have here. We're in relationship to everything. So, you know, we're going to be able to come at things from different levels. So that's why I was saying, I want to get back to that gratitude.
Yes.
Because I'm just so grateful for someone who's been considered way out there on some other plane of existence.
Not in my book.
This person gets me. I
Yes.
mean, honest to goodness, and I do have others that do, but this person's willing to sit here in front of you and say, I I actually kind of get what she's talking about. And if not, she'll say, so what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Which is helpful for me, so thank you.
You're
Brings
welcome.
it.
Absolutely. Well, if you do have questions, we're on Justin TV, /Conscious TV, write in your questions. And then also, if you don't get a chance to ask your questions here, go ahead and send them to admin@consciousawareness.tv.com. And
That's
that way
right.
we'll get your questions and we can get those answered next week. So.
And we only know, this tells you how moment by moment, that we're on Justin TV for 2 weeks. Because our dear friend Al, that you don't see back there, our dear friend Al has got other things to do in life. So with him departing, we're not exactly sure if we're going to stay on Justin TV, how we're going to do this, but we're always going to end up with the shows on YouTube, correct?
Yes, they'll always be on YouTube.
Always
yes.
go to YouTube for Conscious Awareness TV. And again, you know, we'll be taking questions from there and interacting. So just know that we will hear from you, and making comments and subscribing. All of that helps us build the energy from a cosmic standpoint, making our life so much easier.
Well, and this whole thing about not knowing, it's stepping into the unknown, that we don't know what's going to happen. And that's the beauty of it all, is like, it's kind of like scary in a way, but it's like, ooh, this is really good. Like, you know, like, where are we going to go? But it's in faith and trust too, which is, you know, we know it's the faith and the trust.
And belief.
And belief is all three gateways. So it's bringing all that together and trusting and knowing that there's going to be a flow that's going to happen, that the universe knows exactly where this is going, because we are so intent. Our intention really is raising the consciousness.
Yeah, and by being present to do that.
Exactly, and living it consciously on here.
Exactly.
So let's talk. I mean, I really kind of wanted to talk about how this show really emerged. But what comes to my mind, and I just want to throw this out there, because Sherry. Oh, I want to thank Teresa as well, Hill, for this great sacred space
and Dave,
as well. And Dave, thank you so much. And then for Sherry, who is amazing, who's not even in this state of California. She's outside of California, in another state, but she puts together all of the information for the shows, and she sends out the email blast. So she has done a phenomenal job.
Absolutely.
So I just want to acknowledge her. Thank you, Sherry. Yeah. So she had said that this is all about what's the saying with Superman? Want to leap tall buildings in a single bound.
Exactly.
Okay, well, we're leaping tall buildings in a single bound. I mean, we literally are leaping in the consciousness. So I love that, and I think it's in relationship to this leaping and this expansion and all that. And so I was considering us the dynamic duo. What?
Oh,
okay. Yeah, there we go. So, you know, I thought it was just really kind of interesting how her wording was just really.
And like you said too, when you started, your show was just Conscious Awareness TV as the show. And as she so pointed out, that's really the network. So we're letting people out there know that it is our goal to get other folks with your message out there on the network. Our show is now the emerging self, bringing heaven to earth. Yes. So that, which it opens up to everything. But I just want to say that we're all in colleagueship here. And so that now that we know that we're a network and this is our show, that has expanded the possibilities too. So do you want to take a minute though, and at least let people know, how did we get a show to begin with? See, I came in later, so I don't know.
Yes. So in November 2012, I heard in the middle of the night, woke up saying, get the domain Conscious Awareness TV, and I thought, really, I am not getting up out of bed and getting the TV domain. I'm not doing that, you know. And I thought, if it's there tomorrow, okay, that's good. So I got up the next day, sure enough, checked it out. Conscious Awareness TV was there. I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but sure, well, I'll just leave it aside. It's good for a year. And then I met Alan through the Philosophical Library, our camera guy. Thank you.
And tell them we're in California. We're a big state.
Yes. So we're in California. Yes.
But we're in San Diego County, and we're at the north end, because she lives in what we call North County, and I'm 4 exits from the Tijuana border. For those of you that know where Mexico is,
South County.
South County.
South there. Yes. So when I met Alan, I was going to do classes up at the library, and on my website, Healthy Mind, Healthy Body, Alan had checked out my radio show, which I had a radio show. Awakening the Consciousness.
And still do.
And I still do, and you'll know more about that in the future. So he went on there and listened to my radio shows, and he said, I really like those. You should get back on there. And I said, well, you know what? I have this conscious awareness TV domain that, I think it's about time that we step out there and we start filming and interviewing people live. So that's kind of how that blossomed. That was in May of 2013, and we thought our first show was going to be June, then it was going to be July, then it was going to be August. Well, then I had found out I had received some court papers to go back to court in May, so that kind of set everything back. So I had to put things on hold. So the show really didn't get started until September. But out of that, really, it was all a blessing. It was all so perfect because there is a timing for everything. A timing when the consciousness is ready to hear what we have to say about expansion, about the emerging self, and we're going to talk to you more about that, what that is, about bringing, because the show itself emerged from this God self and myself emerged from me to be able to do that, because I've always wanted to raise the consciousness, but not really knowing what that was going to look like, and then doing the show. And I never met Jeanie, and I was flipping through the library newsletter, and I saw Jeanie Lemaire, Conscious Living. I thought, Conscious Living, that's exactly what my show's about. She would be great to have on the show. Called her, and she's like, I will cancel, I will do anything. Yes, I'll be on your show. That was October, and I knew after the show, I told Alan, and Alan even said, that was really a fun show. And I said, it was like being able to be free, be yourself, showing up and just having the fun, and our energy, everything was just so great together. So from then on, we knew we were the dynamic.
There we go.
Yes.
We knew we were
in partnership.
Stuck with each
Yes.
other.
Yes, and not just in a business sense, really, but really in a deeper sense. It's like two souls who have found each other, who've come together. And again, I want to say this, that we cannot do life together. I knew, and you knew the same thing. You said you had waited years.
We can't do life together? We can't do it alone.
Oh, we can't do it alone, excuse me. But you knew that you had waited a long time for someone as well to come up to this
for
place.
sharing this work, because the hard part in my realm, I don't just have a lingo. I'm really using words very differently than most people do, and my friends would say that. So it's like, it's helpful you're with somebody who talks regular so people can understand.
Yes, I'm bringing it to earth terms.
Exactly.
That's why she's called the cosmic wizard.
I'm not trying
not the earth angel.
But, yes, but it just turns out that way. So I'm by nature, I'm into expanding people's perception, and she's by nature wanting to grow from the earth plane into that larger perception. So it's a beautiful match.
Thank you. And I just want to say something too. I'm in my party dress today.
Oh.
This is my birthday dress. My birthday is next week, and so I decided to have two party dresses, one for this show and one for next show. So I just had to throw that out there because, I'm just in a party mode. Happy birthday to me.
Absolutely. And so, she's talking the year, which is the big one, the big one, that one number every year. But I'm on a 4-month one. No, I know you're not, but you just, no, this time you are. Not always, but this time you are, because your birthday is the day of arrival on the planet.
Yes, but I consider really every birthday, it's just that, there's that day that the arrival is, but it's like, it's coming up, and so I just want to kind of celebrate.
No, absolutely. I'm just saying today's my 4th month since my last year one. So I'm celebrating birthday today too. So she's in birthday.
No, wait a minute. I want to be able to celebrate my birthday by myself.
All by yourself? You just want to do life all by yourself?
That's right. There you go. There you go. See? Wow. It's bringing it back. That's where we talk. That's separation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want my space.
Exactly. Well, I was kind of feeling like I wanted my space.
Aww. You can have it. You can have it.
And I think but also on the show too, you will see Jeanie and I really interacting, that how we're supposed to be in life, really interacting with people. And when there is a moment that you're like, oh, well, because I really honestly felt like I really want to celebrate my birthday by myself. But then when you brought that to my attention, it was like, wow, really that kind of.
That's the deep habits.
Yes.
Those are the habits we don't even
Just like
realize.
when we started the show, and I was like, and welcome to conscious. Oh my gosh.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is all that's emerging, and this living consciously, or this living in the now, it's wonderful. But guess what? A lot of your thens are going to get sort of discombobulated, because while we're in the now, we're not focused so much on what's going to happen in 2 minutes, or did we do it right? So we're all in a transition on this, and so when I do the cosmic weather report here today, I'll give you some updates on that. But we're saying that this is the time, and this is our moment. Other people are feeling it in their work. This is the time for us all to rear our heads up and say, like, oh, I've been asleep a while. What's been going on since I've been gone? So we're all waking up to this. It's a nice feeling.
Yes, waking
You know,
up to
cooperation, support, helping each other out, or just like that. Have a moment like, oh, I don't want to share. Wow, where'd that come from? Because it's in us. We have to clear these things out that we don't even know are in us.
Right.
That's perfect.
Yes, yeah.
You're such a great example. You live it. You just live it. You be it. You provide it for people. That's
well, and that's the whole point, really, is that we wanted to be able to show you how it is to live consciously on Conscious Awareness TV, well, which is our network, but the emerging self. And that's really what I'm doing. Is when that happened, it was really that God self going, "Ooh, wait a minute," you know, and really emerging to that. So
cool. But it does come. What you are seeing, and this is what we all want to build, is on this planet. There's really only one game, and that's each other. So how we treat ourselves and each other, that's the game. That's the whole point. So when we treat people well, treat ourselves well and others well, Linda and I spend enough time, we clear things, we, moan and groan, we do all that stuff because we know we have that foundation of love and support.
Right.
And that's what we are living consciously. We want everybody to feel that they have the freedom to self-express, or the freedom to say, oh, I don't want to share it with you. Because that's a natural response. We all are unique to us. I have a friend whose birthday's on Christmas. What do you do about that? You're sharing it with Jesus, for heaven's sakes,
Well, it's not a bad thing.
Well, no, it's great to share, but when you talk about having your own day,
Yes.
it's like already
Yes.
sort of taken, is all I'm
Yes.
trying to say. So, we have these kind of feelings, and they're real for us.
Yeah, and also in that too, what came to mind when you were speaking about that is in helping one another and really being able to share and have the support. It's not that one person is above, because I'll have to say, and this has come up really, in doing the show together, I'm like, oh my gosh, Jeanie knows so much more than I do, and I really don't know really anything, and she's gonna steal the show, and and it's really realizing that there is no one person that is above you, that is higher than you, or whatever you want to call that. That we really are equal. And I love what you say, and it's really about leaping the buildings. It's leaping one another.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to talk about in the emerging self as well. And through all of our shows that we have, it's about leaping, and in leaping in relationships and things like that. So, I've come to realize that really we bring something to the show that is Jeanie in her own unique way, and then I bring something to the show that is myself in my own unique way, but we're doing this together.
Absolutely, and all of it's needed.
Yes.
So, when she's talking leaping, this emergent self is, for any relationship to stay vibrant and active, we gotta aspire to something. So if our main squeeze, gets off doing something really great, and that might motivate us to get off, do something great. So we're meant to leapfrog, so we keep the joy and that pleasure, for married couples, for business partners, for a couple of friends, for all of that. We tend to kind of get to some level, and we kind of decide who's where, that person's there, that one there, and we stay there. And I think at that moment, we're experiencing an early death. I mean, I understand these bodies come and go, but nobody says we have to die before we do.
Right.
So,
which really brings me to the story of the sponge. We got to talk about the sponge, but also yes.
Oh gosh. Okay.
This story's okay.
But the sponge story is I'm going to tell at the very end, only because it deals with our helpful hints.
Okay.
So we start every show.
Hints, yes.
We start every show with gratitude, and we're going to want to chew on it a minute. We're not just like I'm grateful, fine. Let's move on. We're going to chew on gratitude and some things we can be grateful for.
Yes.
And then we do have topics. So next week, as she says, we'll go into the topic of the emerging self. This is the behind the scenes show. And I just saw one of those for Sherlock Holmes on PBS. They did a behind the show. So it helps you know what you're thinking or what we're attempting to accomplish.
Well, and when they do those behind scenes, do they really show you everything that's really happening? I mean, you look at reality shows, and really, is it really reality? What you're seeing, this is real. This is not exactly. You're seeing this is it. There's no pre-recorded. There's no, it's like the oops. Shoot,
here we are.
Here we are. So we really are giving you the behind the scenes of what's really happening.
Yeah. So even Conscious Awareness is having a birthday today. It's, moving into it being a network, and now we're a new TV show, and so that's all really cool.
Didn't think about that. Thanks for bringing that up. Yes.
So, but as she was saying, we'll be talking on a topic, and then at some point, I will do the cosmic weather report. So let me give you an example. What we're referring to here is I'm dealing with the invisible world. So if you close your eyes, Do you notice you can go to more places than you can with your eyes open? Like if you close your eyes and I ask you for a minute to place yourself on our moon and look back at the earth, you can do that. You know, you have the image in you. But if you have your eyes open, that's a little tougher because, we have this gravity and, and all this stuff like that. So I'm going to be bringing that news forward. And as we've mentioned earlier, it's all about relationships. So her being Earth Angel, you're hearing terms also in my living formula. So we will continue to let you know when that comes in, because as a perceiver who's an angelic, they live their life through relationships. So she's absolutely an expert just in being herself on this topic. And as a wizard, I live my life in eclectic, offbeat, don't really care if it's this way or that way. As I best say, I am the best and worst of all 6 essences, or ways of perceiving. And we'll continue to bring that news in when we talk on it. But also as a cosmic wizard, I'm telling you, and we noticed here today in San Diego County, there is a serenity right here today. And I honestly, it was so serene. Nobody's rushing on the freeway. It was like a cosmic, because the first few weeks of this year, because a lot of us have done good work, we've done inner child work, we've done anger management and communicated and all that stuff, 12-step programs, but we don't realize a lot of stuff sits in unconscious and subconscious. So the first few weeks of this year where we say, yeah, we're going forward, yay, raw, it had a lot of turmoil. And a lot of my friends that called it, what is going on? What is going on? I said, we're scraping like a peanut butter jar when you get your spoon to scrape the last bit out. That's what we're doing, because it sits in our unconscious and subconscious.
Well, no, you also too said that now is the time that we cannot live over.
Not a thing.
Anything that's stuck underneath.
Yeah, and a lot of us were, experts at being conscious and things, and we have our own work, but don't be surprised if stuff comes up for everybody, because that subconscious, unconscious, as she's talking, that habit energy, hi, this conscious awareness TV, we do it automatically.
Yes.
So that automatic stuff is being stirred. But right here today, I can tell you, in our neck of the woods, you see me, I'm in a sundress.
Oh, yes,
this is January 20th, okay? I just came from Missoula, Montana. They're not experiencing 80-degree weather. So at the same time, just in our continental United States, if you don't even add Alaska and Hawaii, so many different weathers going on at the same time. And that's the same to us as cosmic. In the invisible realm, many things can occupy the same space. So we want to bring that news in and deliver it into our earthly life. We're trying to have some fun here and be healthy and fit and, and enjoy ourselves. So we want to bring the two together.
And that's where you're talking about bringing heaven to earth.
Absolutely.
We're merging that.
Instead of trying to get out there, which
yes.
in gravity we can't, but we can be in our cosmic self, expand out and bring that news to us. So that's why I get to do the cosmic weather reports. And later in the show, more of the topic. Then we want it, or it might be immediate some shows if it was a direct line. So I say today, if you've been feeling like things were like weird things coming up that haven't for a long time, or issues you thought you've handled, it's scraping down, because unless we do, we can't buoyant enough into our full conscious cosmic self.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of like the other day when we were talking about a situation that really, it was just more me listening.
What are we talking about?
When we talked on the phone the other day, you had said you have some listening time, and we had a conversation that brought up something for me, but it really wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I was giving her a heads up, because she's always saying, I want to learn, I'm growth. I said, okay, I'm going to believe her. And it did. You're right. It just brought up.
But I wasn't expecting. It was the unexpected. It was just more of, I'm listening. And as I listened, then I felt things start to emerge, emotions and things start to rise. And I thought, okay, wait a minute, something's happening. This is really like I'm making this something, but it was more about, okay, this is for me to take a look at, which was great. I mean, I was grateful, that the situation kind of came up, that really was just in the listening, but yet at the same time, I was like, oh, wow, this is something that I am got to be more consciously aware of how am I being. So from that day, now I really am very mindful of when I am speaking to people or when I am in an interaction with people of where am I coming from.
So for those of you who don't know what she's talking about, so she's talking about me. What is she talking about? She's talking about, I was explaining in relationship to some other people, and she took it in herself. She's an angelic. They take on your concerns and your sadnesses and all, and she was feeling hurt inside herself. And as I continued chatting with her, I said, the news I'm giving you is not for you to hold. And we kept chatting until she was able to turn that news around and turn it into compassion for the folks that we were speaking about, that was a heads up for her. So people don't realize, depending on which nature you are, and we'll keep going into this, we have different things we do automatically. And these angelics, if you've been around them, they take it upon themselves. You may be hurting, but they'll feel the hurt. You may be unsure, they'll feel the insecurity. It's kind of nice of them, but no offense, it doesn't help them in their world.
Right.
And it doesn't always help us clear something else if somebody kind of removes that feeling. So it was really interesting. And so if any of this, if you want to know more, if we're a little still too vague, please, send us a comment or a question.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we want to keep going as far into a topic as you're wanting to hear.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, because it's like, I'm sure a lot of people, out there, which I wouldn't even thought about that, oh my gosh, that I'm taking this on. To me, it was just like the norm. That's what but as an angelic, it is the norm, but it's in the knowing that, okay, I'm taking this on for everybody. It's like I'm taking on the world. So how many, I know, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are,
Exactly. All you angelics know exactly what she's talking about. Now, the rest of the natures might go, what kind of garbage is that?
Yeah, be taking on better stuff.
Not their thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm always saying to her, there is and are ways from the cosmos to help us live life easier here, but we've sort of forgotten them. It's not like it's not in us, we've forgotten. So we want to bring the topics up, and we're going to use ourselves because there's two of us, plenty of ammunition.
Yes, we have a lot to talk about. Not a subject that we can't tap on.
Exactly.
Really, and that's really true, because it's like you said, I can ask you anything, and then you just know where the answer is and how to get there.
Or a place we can chew on.
Exactly.
Because again, we're not going to give you the answer to anything. No. But what we can say is we're going to keep reminding you of what we know, is that your value is intact. I don't care if you know you're valuable or not, it never goes away. So our invite is always for you to feel confident in yourself, to know that you're of value. Because I tell people this all the time. If even one of us were not on the planet, this planet wouldn't be as nice as it is. And we know it's not as nice as we'd like it to be. So it takes all of us to bring that goodness, whatever you want to call it, or that talent to the surface. And when we share all those talents, it's a lot more fun here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm ready to move on to some new topics.
Exactly.
I'm not sure what they are, but I'm excited.
Yes.
So good for us.
Yeah. Well, it's about playing.
Yeah. So let's we'll put her on the spot. So if we have your segment about, it's about relationship. You're an earth angel. So just today, can you give people a little idea of what part we sort of did a little topic there, but that was such a big one. So give us a topic in the area of relating with oneself or others that you might want to share with them, about relationship.
About relating with myself and others?
Yeah, because you're the earth angel, and you're going to be doing the relating with others,
right.
or just relationship segment.
Well, I'm not sure if I have anything that really comes to mind, because like I told you, everything just seems like when I go through it, it just passes by, and it's like, oh, that's done, and then I just kind of move on to the same thing, and I really do forget that, oh my gosh, I went through that, and so it's just gone. It's like when you say there's no energy around it.
So tell me,
like there's no topic.
We're going to ask on one that everybody has a little fun in. How about male-female relationships?
Yes.
So let's I won't say names, but how about the guy you were sort of have been seeing for quite a while? So any change in that relationship, or anything you might want to share with them that you've noticed in that relationship?
Yeah, I had a relationship that I was seeing someone, and what I realized was it was in speaking my truth, but also seeing where they were coming from. And it was really basically that when I was able to speak my truth and what was true for me, in the relationship and knowing what a relationship is. Like asking this person, what is a relationship to you? Knowing what that person sees as a relationship, and then myself going, okay, this is what a relationship is to me, and seeing if that's a match.
Yeah.
And also,
What an idea.
right, and also see where that person, you know, ever since we've talked about the mental and emotional and the physical, it really is in my radar. Like it's right there. And so I'm noticing, where's this person speaking from? Are they speaking from their mental? Are they speaking from their emotional, right? Because the
From their
mental,
heart, yeah.
from their heart. So the mental is going to be the information, the heart is going to be the emotional. So I just realized that, you know what? And I don't remember what my aha was because it's gone, but I think it was really in speaking my truth and knowing there was this feeling that came up in me that I can't explain it. All I know is whenever this feeling that I got, that when I honor it, nothing can go wrong. It's
Wow.
like that soul, that God self was like, okay, here's this feeling, and if I ignored it, it was like bringing it more to me.
Wow.
It was like forcing it and bringing it on me. So it was like, okay, I got to really pay attention to this. And in the past, whenever I've paid attention to this feeling, and I know you've all gotten this feeling, it's this gut feeling that there's this inner knowingness that you know this is not right. And in those moments, it's like, or in that moment when speaking with this person, it was like, okay, my mental was saying, oh, you know, and I could feel the mental going, well, but maybe, but the heart and the emotion was so much stronger that was saying, you know what, this is not in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
It is not in alignment. And for me, it's not fair to myself.
Yeah.
And it's not fair to the other person.
Yeah.
So really, in letting that and knowing that we both can have
Yes.
what it is that we truly desire without trying to fit a square into a circle or a circle into a square peg. It just doesn't work. It's kind of like, it reminds you when you put a puzzle piece together and you're thinking, oh, that's the piece to the puzzle, and you're trying to put it in there and it's not fitting. You're like, okay, and you turn it around and you move it, and you're like, okay, I know this piece goes in there. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly. And
Really?
it's so close because it's just like the piece that
Yes,
does go
it
there.
almost just fits. There's just a little corner that's not right there. That's when you know, and it's just, it was a freeing moment. Yes, there's sadness. Whenever there's separation.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But I remember you saying this helped him finally get what you were saying. You'd been sort of for a while saying, I don't think that
thank you, because I forgot about that. Yes.
Okay, so she'd been trying to be nice about it, as we'd want to anyway, but kind of, and he didn't quite grasp that. But in telling her full truth, I think, isn't that when he finally like, oh.
Yeah, I feel that, he finally realized, because it was in me again, and I feel that for so long, it wasn't about speaking my truth, because when I did speak my truth, bam, it came back at me and bit me in the butt, right? And I was like, okay, no point in speaking my truth and saying what is true, because I'm going to just get it back at me.
There you go.
But now I realize, that it really is, it is about the truth, and it is about speaking your truth and where you're coming from, because when you do that, there's so much freedom in that. There's so much, then it's like the doors are going to open in the universe. Because the universe is like, we talked about the other day, when the universe says, okay, you want to resist? Well, I'm just going to sit back and just wait.
Yeah.
And just wait.
No hurry.
No hurry, and just wait. And I thought, okay, wait a minute, I'm cruising along in life, and, I just really, but you're right, he finally did get what I was saying, maybe not have agreed with it.
Oh, exactly. Or liked it.
Or liked
didn't have emotions about it or anything.
Right. But it's
Of
not our
course.
responsibility,
Yeah.
how the other person receives that. But I mean, again, I was coming from a place of love, and I think whenever we're communicating in anything, like when Jeanie and I are talking, and I said, well, I want this to be my birthday and my special day, and then she brought to my attention, well, what about doing life with everybody together? So it's in those moments that you're, you just really, it's, but
you hit a key point. It's in those moments. We try to decide ahead of time how we're going to be, or our interaction with somebody, or what we're going to say. Exactly.
Yes.
We want it all mapped out, and we want it all pretty and all, and it's lovely, but it doesn't have that genuine factor. So authentic, genuine, those are things we all know what they are. We know when they're present within ourselves and with others. We may not want to do anything about it because, maybe I'm living with a guy, and I have to find a place to live. So we're not suggesting that everyone, march right in there and talk direct with folks. We're saying that first has to be truthful to ourselves. And once you kind of get that news, then all those signs you're seeing, they're kind of telling you this one isn't the one, or it might be telling you this is the one. What am I holding back for? It's time for us to get married, and I've been putting it off. So it just gives you news, and that's what we're going to count on her to keep giving us news. And if she just has these ahas and forgets, I'll remind her.
Which I do, seriously.
I know.
And again, this really goes back to our show. We don't have a script. Yeah. We don't know what we're going to say. It's just all in the moment. And really, that really is about life, especially when you're speaking from your heart, and this is about connection. And I feel this is where the connection, or we feel that this is where the connection happens. It's to a heart-to-heart connection.
Yeah.
So we're relating to you, and we're relating to ourselves. And when you're in speaking with people, or that person, or a business, or a friendship, it really is in those moments. And what's interesting is vulnerability.
Oh boy.
I mean, that to be able to speak your truth, and that was really hard. I'm getting much better at it now, but that was really tough for me to be vulnerable enough to speak my truth and show emotion.
Wow.
Because really,
people can go after you. You know how that is. As you said, when you're younger, it's like, oh my gosh, they go after you.
Or as an adult. Are you kidding? That's just when I was a kid.
Well, it started there. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yes, it started there. But even as an adult, you still find yourself when you're speaking your truth, and people are using that against you.
Yeah.
So, you learn not to, but I can tell you from experience that really when you do, and it's going to be scary, but there's a freedom. It's like, he even noticed the time when I got there and the time when I left. Mm-hmm. That when I got there, I was like the wall of China. Yeah. When I got there, the wall of China was broken down, because really, seriously, once I revealed the truth of it, of how I felt, what was coming from me and what I perceived the relationship to be. Mm-hmm. Not, so, it was amazing.
That is amazing. So you see, these portions of our show will last as long as they do because it's all the same topic. It's all us, with everybody.
Yes.
So for you. That's great. So we will again continue to have topics. Lack consciousness is one coming up. Fear, of course, is a big one because we kind of get it confused on which system is it in. Is it in the emotional? Is it in the physical? Or is it in the mental? Because we kind of experience it in all places.
Oh, there's another one too. It is what it is.
Oh gosh, I like that.
And what's the other one? There's something to preface it before that.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
we actually
but
wrote
it is
that
what
one
it
down.
is. Yes,
we say not.
Not at all.
Not at all.
We've been learning. We've learning that we've got options here with our filming, you know?
Exactly. That's why you can't find us. I had somebody emailing me the other day, where are you guys taping? I said, well, let me see. Let's see. It was Google Plus that week. No, I think we're back adjusting TV right at the moment. But don't hold your breath. We're going to have to alert you again because, like I said, we're going to have to figure this out.
Which great. And you don't even know. We may not be in this setting or this venue.
Exactly.
We don't. That's the beauty. And you know what? That's what's so great about it, seriously, is that we don't even know. And this is about life. It's the unknown. And you know what comes up for me, and I feel this is in relationship what we're talking about, is the wizard, is the Wizard of Oz. Dorothy always had the means to go home. Always.
Yeah.
But she had to take the journey. She had to follow the yellow brick road in order to see the wizard who she thought was going to take her home, right? And along the way, she met the Scarecrow, the Tin Man,
and the other person.
The lion.
The lion.
So the lion was about the heart. The Tin Man was a lion. Lion was about courage. The Tin Man needed a heart, and the Scarecrow, the brain.
That's
right. So so with all of that, so we think about as we go through life, and we're taking this journey, the yellow brick road, and we're looking for the wizard, and as we follow this road, we're going to come upon the witches, the darkness, or whatever we want to call that, the obstacles in the way.
The resistance.
But then we come along the fairy, which is the universe. To me, it's the God. It's the, some people come into our life and you're like, wow, that person came into my life at the right time.
Fairy godmother, you mean that type?
Fairy godmother, yes.
Absolutely.
So it's
that's what we like these fairy tales.
Yeah, but it's whatever you want to call it. To me, it could be God. It could be another person, So I just feel that this is this journey and it is along the way, because had she known she had the means of going home in the very beginning,
She wouldn't learn
she
anything.
wouldn't have learned anything along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
So-
We all have the means in us, but we forget that so we can have a journey to have these ahas and return to ourselves. And the planet itself's like that. It expands out. We kind of swim away from ourselves, and then it kind of heads back. And that's where we're at. That's why this show is so perfectly timed. Is we're now ready to remember that we're all one. We're not just saying it's oneness. We are all one. So anything we see in another is something we either have compassion for, or we've experienced ourselves, or hey, we're just backing them because we love them. It just doesn't matter because it includes everybody. And that's the thing, this inclusion versus exclusion. So that's why I say has to be a leapfrog. Who gets to sit on top of the heap? Nobody.
Right.
In fact, it's very lonely on top of the heap when you don't have folks to play with.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
so that's why it is fun to, trip a little and, and that doesn't mean don't get upset and don't emote. That's what the emotions are for. And you can't always go direct to somebody if you're going to go and attack them. So we have to learn to get that energy up and out. And we'll have tips on that to help you get the energy up and out so you don't have to punch grandma on the nose from something she said.
Right, right.
So
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I had an aunt, no offense, and my mother's oldest sister, and these folks, this is a gregarious group, they're honestly, you don't have to, there are no wishes in this group. And I said in front of my mother and all her sisters, I said, I love her, and yet I can't wait for her to go, so her point of view goes, and she kind of looked at me and says, well, I can see that. That's the aunt I was talking to. She says, well, I can see that. Because she had such a set, minuscule little point of view.
But you know what I loved about that? She owned.
Oh my gosh.
And that's what we don't do. We don't own the fact that, okay, yes, I am like that.
Exactly.
But maybe she wasn't really meaning to.
Of course not. But I'm saying with this group, you didn't have to worry about just putting it out there because they like chew on it and not say, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But, so we don't all have that, but maybe we can move towards it where we can have a little more support and help in that realm.
Let's talk about because we mentioned it a little bit because when the Dorothy analogy that the Wizard of Oz about going home. Because we talked about that, really, it's the invisible and the visible coming together and the emerging self. And all in relationship about going home.
Right, exactly. And again, we will talk some more. So if this is not, this is the Cliff Note version. But it is, when I say going home, it's where the invisible and the visible link up. Like I said, in the invisible realm, many things can occupy the same space. In the visible, only one thing, we know in the law of physics, only one item can occupy the space. So literally, when those come together, it's a knowingness. It's like having more than just a sixth sense. It's having such, like, you just know what to do, where to head, who to see, and even if you didn't make plans, it all works out. Or if you made plans with something and yours changed, you just knew that the other person's busy anyway, and then when you get together, say, gosh, sorry, I'm late, and they said, no, that worked out great, I didn't get a chance to get to you, but I needed that extra time. It's those kind of synchronistic walking this path where you don't have to have it pre-planned and you don't have to have it defended and explained and documented in triplicate. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's both having the guidelines, which is what rules and regulations are meant to be, only guidelines, and the total freedom to navigate, because in any given moment, your physical and your emotional systems give you a head up. And the mental, if it's doing its job, is backing that news. So I know we've all said sometimes, gosh, I kind of got a hint. I should have left earlier and I didn't, and then something happened. But it hasn't been strong enough. So we're saying this invisible is waking up in us. So it's starting to get, so we can hear it a little better and then follow it. Because when you start to follow it, then you think, oh my gosh, I missed an accident here, I got something else happened over there, and then it's like, oh my gosh. So, this is why she's in charge of the relationship part, but we want a relationship, we don't just want to be by ourselves, but that is part of it, but it's intermixed with this energy, and when those two come together, it's like finding the right person at the right moment in a place you don't even usually visit.
Right.
That's what's so cool.
That links in.
It does.
It's a good fit. Absolutely. Isn't it also too where we're talking about bringing, because we had talked about this the other day, is where you're bringing this, I'm bringing my joyful, my playful, my God self, as well as I'm bringing in that the other part of me that's maybe not feeling as worthy, or what's some other words I'm trying.
Well, yeah,
You know, so
self-confident.
yeah,
and things like that,
self-confidence
yeah.
and things like that. So we're
Yeah.
bringing those two together
Yeah.
to combine that as a whole. So it's like honoring. They talk about the shadow self. So it's honoring your shadow self. It kind of reminds me of
In
Peter
your whole
Pan.
self.
In your whole self.
It's
Yes.
your whole self. And if
Yes.
any of you have seen The Dark Crystal, it's I think
haven't seen that
Jim
one.
Henson's you know, it's a Muppet kind of movie and stuff.
I gotta
And
see
they and I don't know the names of the two beings, but they're the Om ones, and then there's the ones, you know, kind of mucky kind of thing. And the whole story is about bringing our God Om self to our daily, yeah, so I pick my nose, okay, so what, you know, kind of nay. And when they bring them together is when you have the light being, because our light beingness is truly a total expression. So I'm a prime example. I've had many a friend, and they're absolutely correct, say, Jeanie, you talk so loud, you talk so fast, I don't understand a word you're saying. And I'll say to them, don't I know it? I live here. I have to put up with this stuff every day. You only have to see it for a minute. You know, I'm constantly having to deal with this stuff. And what I'm saying to them is, you know, you're right. That is what gets going in me. And I don't know, I get somehow, you know, supercharged. And when I do, look out, you know, I mean, I can't help it. But at the same time, if I want that person to kind of hear what I'm saying, I need to reel it in a little bit and say, you know, take a deep breath, okay, you know, not to curtail myself, but just to, if you want to communicate. So we're always needing that extra element. We want to both be able to self-express, and we want to be able, if we really want to get our message across, have somebody be able to hear us. So we're intermixing those two, the full self-expression with adapting, having our life be so good that I can pay more attention to how yours is doing.
Right.
You know how you talk to somebody, how are you doing? They say, yeah, yeah, fine, let me tell you my upset.
Right.
And they didn't hear you.
At a moment.
Exactly. Right. So that's what we're saying. We're blending that bit of news. And as you so beautifully said, it is a journey. Yes. And hey, I'm saying get out your red slippers and find your yellow brick road, because you're probably on it. You know, whatever shows up in front of you is what's going on.
Yeah, we're definitely on it. It's just a matter of may not really kind of realize, but because I used to say, well, I've been on this journey for, you know, so many years. It's like, no, we've been on this journey all along.
I was going to say,
for probably forever, like even past this lifetime, that we've been on this journey. And it's really in this, and I really feel that this year really is going to, because it's already started, like you said, when you sniff the air and the cosmic weather. And truly, today, driving up was just really amazing.
And we could both tell that it was so serene. Quiet. It was just quiet.
Yes.
Cars going along, people changing lanes, but not that hecticness and stuff. Yeah. So I thought it was perfect because we're attuned. So to me, it was like, we're feeling that, and the universe, our world out here, matched it. And that's where the magic comes in. I'm always talking about magic, not that witchcraft stuff, but magic, pure magic, is where those align. It's like you've got yourself in a certain space, and darn if out of the blue, the world out here comes in alignment. And this cosmic, universal self has the ability for every single one of us to have that experience.
Right, and that's what they're talking about when your inside is a reflection of your outside world.
Absolutely.
Whatever's going on inside is a reflection of your outside. So how you view the world outside is really what's happening on your inside.
And at the very same time, that holds true for every single, I call it all chunks of God. So each chunk's got that going on. So there are times where you are in your balance and another chunk is looking to do their learning off you. So there are distinctions, but they're very slight, and we're all involved. Something for everybody in those exchanges.
Yeah, just to pay attention.
Cool.
Well, you know, it's interesting too, is what just came. This really doesn't have anything to do with what you were just talking about.
Good,
but
good. I like those.
You know, it's like Jeanie and I. Even our clothing. It's just so funny how we're so in sync. It's about being in tune, and when you really.
See, sleeveless and sleeveless.
Well, not only that, but even our colors, how we match our colors, and you know how
and
we're never really clashing. We're not clashing.
We don't clash, exactly.
Yeah, so it's just how we're really in tune with.
And you're in this beautiful, stylish dress, and you have such a nice form that goes with it. Some of those dresses I can't wear because I don't have the form. But man, come with a splash of color. You know, it's right up my alley. So it's so neat.
So it's wonderful.
That's good. So, and just because we for sure want to get it in, and Al will let us know how long we've been talking, but still, I do want to get to the fact that at the end of each show, we're going to do what we call our helpful hints. and it will be on the topic or from the cosmos or whatever. But we're laughing on this because we were chatting the other day, and I was telling her my sponge story. So let me at least tell the story so we make sure it
Are
gets
you doing
in on
cosmic
time.
weather before you do the sponge story?
I did cosmic weather. Want me to do it again?
Well, no.
Okay, I do cosmic weather again.
Well, I mean,
Cosmic
yes.
weather is two form here today. Things, at least in our neck of the woods, that's like at least spreading out here into California and the local states around us. I didn't look any further. Things are pretty serene today. Our weathers are pretty good, all, you know, our outside weather. But I can tell you, pay attention to what pops out of other people's mouth. With that, when I told you that scraping down to those unconscious, subconscious things, they're going to tell you where they're at. And you're even yourself, watch what pops out of your mouth on who you are. And I like TV shows, and I was watching NCIS, and they had this guy who had helped a terrorist. He didn't see himself as a terrorist. He kept saying, I move things. And he kept repeating himself, I move things. He moved people, he moved, who knows. But I'm just saying, he kept repeating. And I thought that was such a brilliant, you know, opportunity for them. And finally, Gibbs hears him. He moves things. He moved the terrorist in this case, you know, so the big story. But that's the thing, is we're always speaking, like I'm always, you know, listening to people. That might come out of my mouth a lot. I need to hear that. Says, wow, so I am a good listener. Somebody else may be saying, you know, something about relationship. Well, height. I'm always aware of just how tall I am. And what they're really saying is they're aware there's something about height differences that is of an issue to them. Yeah. These things pop out of our mouth. I can never think of the example. But cosmic weather, pay attention. We've got some serenity here, so the nuances are a little easier to hear than when it's stormy.
Yes.
So there you go. Does that
Thank
help?
you. Yes. So we're going to do help tips. Not help.
Well,
I call them self tips. You were saying help tips.
Well,
I think,
self-help tips.
Yes, self-help tips.
Anyway, I was telling her that I was, up in Montana. I was taking care of a little dog for some friends of mine. And when they came home, I had washed the dishes, and just something I do along the way, someone told me, I had put the sponge in there to wash the sponge as well. Now, you can put it in your microwave. That gets a lot of the, quickly gets bacteria off. But I find the sponge in the dishwasher, it's just refreshed. So these folks came home, and I was unloading the dishwasher, and they were like, where's the sponge, because they were going to, get some grub off. I said, oh, it's in the dishwasher. And they kind of looked at me funny, and I said, a sponge, everything's alive. This sponge, it wants a long life, just like I want a long life. I want a long and healthy life. And I said, this way I honor the sponge by letting it have a long and healthy life by seeing that it gets refreshed so it doesn't have to be tossed right away. And Linda, without a thought, says,
I said, well, stick me in the washer and run me. So I'm just like, yes, exactly, because you know what? Let's run me for a long-lived life. Yes.
And it's so true. She grasped it. I was specifically talking about the sponge, but I'm referring to all of us. Everything's alive. We don't pay attention to that. Everything we create, even though it's a sponge or it's a plug.
Or a tablecloth, it doesn't matter.
Tablecloth, exactly.
Really, literally.
We're more familiar with the earth and with the animals and with humans, but in truth, we're extending out to say, if everything and everyone is all included, then it all has to be alive on some level. Yes. Now, I'm not expecting this chair to dissolve on me right this minute. In my belief system, it's going to remain a chair while it's here. Okay? But
we're grateful for this chair.
Absolutely, because it's allowing me to sit on it and feel secure sitting on the chair. But I'm grateful that this chair is here. So I do things like name my cars, because they're really alive for me. They do so much for me. I have to tell you, on one of them, Chazon, oh my gosh, that's with and without in French, Chez and Chazon and that. And I'm telling you, I was in LA one night in Hollywood. I just worked with somebody, and Saturday night, not paying a bit of attention, right around midnight, I came around a corner onto the Hollywood Vine area, and darn if around this corner they had like a stop sign so close, and there was two cars already there, and I came, because I'm always surrounding my cars in love and light, and my car came up behind the other one and did a jolt and pulled me back within inches of smashing into this car, literally. And I knew it was the energy of this car taking care of me and my honoring it and thanking it and surrounding it in love and light that
She
kept,
had her armor on there.
I'm just telling you, she was just
Yes.
aware, more aware than I
Yes.
was. She was aware, and this is before these cars that talk to you. This was like, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So I was just so grateful because it just, that just, and so quickly it would have been something else.
Yeah, we don't,
easily.
and that's true because we don't really realize. I mean, I think, just knowing you and hearing the different things, like your earmuffs when you thought you lost them and you grieved, and when I had my glasses and I thought I lost them, I had this grieving. Talk about cars. I was at the church that I go to, and there was a gentleman who parked underneath the branches were hanging really low, where if he went under, it would scrape the top of his car.
Oh.
And so he, rolled in and he parked his car, and I said, isn't that kind of like going to scratch up your car? And he said, it's okay. It needs to get painted anyway. I said, no, it's not okay. That car is a living thing. You really need to honor it. It gets you around. It's gotten you here. It gets you where you need to go. So I don't feel that we take things so much for granted.
Yeah.
Everything that we have, and the things that, like you said, from the water bottle to the sponge. And you also talked about the plants, when you were watering the plants, and how the plants have to sit in their own poop. So
I did. They had a couple of plants up there,
yeah.
and those lovely, very.
Their own muck.
No, but it was one of those. What do you call it? Where it's gold, kind of good look for under the plant. And these folks were watering it without giving it any drainage.
Right.
So I kept saying the poor plants, they weren't surviving because they were sitting in their own poop.
Yeah, but again, we don't really think about things like that. So
and you had to bring it up.
Well, you brought up the sponge about it in the dishwasher, so I thought I'd bring up about the plants. But it's everything. We don't really.
And
it's
again,
really
who puts
mindful.
anything on time?
Exactly.
I refer to us humans as lip flappers for reasons. We're flap, 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 flap. We flap, flap, flap. And it's fine that we flap, but while we're flapping, we're not paying attention to these other things that are taking care of us. So whenever I do miscue, because I'm distressed and I break something, I apologize to it. I do my best to fix it. By the way, you helped me fix my refrigerator.
Oh yeah, how'd it go?
Didn't stay. Rich went to kind of put it in jam, and
well, there you go.
Took it out entirely.
Maybe he forced it too much.
I have no idea, but I said, yeah, just gentle. I know we just super glued it, but it didn't want to stay. But we gave it a go.
Yeah, we did.
We gave it a second life.
We glued this little thing on there, this plastic thing.
And thank goodness,
Yeah. And maybe it was time for this to leave
obviously,
the planet.
Obviously.
It needs to be buried.
But we didn't decide ahead of time.
No, we took care of it.
That's right.
So it really is. It's take care of ourselves.
Absolutely.
As well as we would take care of everything else. So it really is definitely important.
So anyway, this is what we're about.
Yeah. So we're excited, and again, we just look for us,
Yeah.
and really, and where we're going to be here, and we don't know. Although next week, January 30th, we will be talking about the emerging self, the more meat of that, and really what that means and what that looks like. So we will be talking more about that, and
and remember, your cosmic tip today is cosmic. Just pay attention. At least we know. I don't know about other parts of the world. If the weather is off, then it might not show up so much. But at least us here in the county of San Diego, things are pretty serene. Pay attention. Pay attention to what people keep saying about themselves. Pay attention what you keep saying about yourself. So just know that those are things that you're operating from. So just raising our consciousness that much would be great.
And also on your relationships, just know, and speaking your truth and being vulnerable, really there is a freedom. They say the cliche, truth will set you free. It really does. It allows this freedom that you will feel it. I mean, once you speak your truth. So
and take your journey for that, like she's saying.
Absolutely.
Took her a minute to get to that point. We're not saying jump in and then have something bop you. We're saying head towards that. Keep heading towards it till you feel comfortable to speak your truth. So you're the one that knows.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Yeah. So we thank you so much for being on the show and just being here, and it's
we
just
wish
been
you
great.
Happy birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you.
Yay.
Thanks. And happy 4-month birthday to you.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
Yes. And we want to thank again Teresa, Alan, and all of you that made this possible, that you watching us today and just being with us, has really made a difference. And, we couldn't do this without all of you.
Exactly.
So we thank you again, and we look forward to you tuning in next week. And if you missed the show, be sure to go to our YouTube channel, Conscious Awareness TV, and subscribe and like us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yay.
So look for more changes and just exciting new things to come. So thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.